Okay, so you know that feeling, right? You've got this massive, invisible to-do list just swirling around in your head, all the work deadlines, the emails you need to answer, the laundry that's piling up, bills to pay, and yet, instead of doing any of it, you just stop. You're stuck. Well, today, we're going to talk about how to break that paralysis with a super simple 5-minute fix.
Sound familiar? You have so much to do, but you find yourself scrolling on your phone, watching another episode of that show, basically doing anything except the stuff that's actually causing you all that stress. It's this weird, frustrating paradox, isn't it? The more you have to do, the less you actually get done.
And then, of course, that little voice in your head starts up. You start telling yourself, I'm just lazy, or I have no discipline. But here's the thing. What if that's completely wrong? What if this isn't some deep character flaw? What if it's actually just your brain trying to protect you? It's a totally normal response to a perceived threat.
So let's really dig into this feeling, that sensation of being completely overwhelmed, totally stuck. It's something pretty much everyone goes through, and just understanding what it is, well, that's the first step to getting past it. Man, this one just hits home, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that vicious cycle. The tasks keep piling up, and your ability to act just seems to shrink. It's so common.
So what's really going on inside our heads when this happens? I mean, why does our brain, the one tool we need to solve our problems, seem to just short-circuit when we need it the most? Let's get into the science of it. Turns out, there's actually a name for this. It's called overwhelm paralysis. And the key phrase here is perceived as a threat. You see, your brain isn't really telling the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and an overflowing inbox. It just senses overload, panics, and hits the emergency brake as a way to keep you safe.
This is probably the best analogy I've ever heard for it. When you've got dozens of mental tabs open, all your tasks, your worries, your reminders, your brain's processing power just slows to a crawl, exactly like a computer. Eventually, it just says, nope, this is too much, shutting down. And here's the cruel irony, right? The more we avoid the big scary list by distracting ourselves, the bigger the list gets, and the more overwhelmed we feel. It's exactly like being stuck in quicksand. Our instinct is to struggle, but that's what makes us sink faster. Okay, I really want you to hear this. Let this sink in for a second. You are not broken. You're not lazy, and you're not missing some magic willpower gene. This is a normal human response. In fact, you know who deals with this the most? High achievers, because they're the ones piling more and more onto their plates.
But here's the good news. There is a way out of the quicksand. And it doesn't involve just trying harder or being more disciplined. It's about a simple, quick mental reset. Think about what you do when your phone gets glitchy and slow. You restart it, right? Well, that's all we're doing here. A simple 5-minute reset is often all it takes to interrupt that stress cycle and get your brain out of panic mode and back into a place where it can actually function. I absolutely love this way of picturing it. When you're overwhelmed, your mind is like a snow globe that's just been violently shaken. It's a chaotic mess. All this reset does is give you a brief pause, just long enough for all that glitter to settle so you can finally see clearly again. So, how do we do it?
All right, here we go. These are the 5 practical, actionable steps you can take, anywhere, anytime, to reboot your mind and break out of that freeze response. And the best part? It only takes 5 minutes.
So, here's the game plan for our 5-minute reset. We're going to start by calming our body down. Then we get honest about how we're feeling. After that, we get all the chaos out of our head and onto paper. Then we create a little bit of focus. And finally, we're going to break the paralysis with one tiny, tiny action. Let's dive into step 1. Step 1 might sound almost too simple, but trust me, it's crucial. Just stop whatever you're doing, and for 1 or 2 minutes, just breathe. See, when you're stressed, your breathing gets all shallow and quick, which tells your brain there's danger. By taking slow, deep breaths, you're sending the opposite signal. You're telling your nervous system, hey, we're safe, we can calm down. Okay, next up, just ask yourself a simple question. How am I feeling right now? Am I anxious? Am I frustrated? Scattered? Just putting a name to the emotion is incredibly powerful. When you say, I'm feeling overwhelmed, instead of, I'm so lazy, you stop judging yourself and you start understanding yourself. It's a huge shift. Now it's time to deal with all that mental noise. Grab a piece of paper, open a notes app on your phone, whatever works, and just write down everything that's taking up space in your head. Every task, every worry, every little thought. Don't try to organize it. Just dump it all out. Getting it out of your head and onto a page gives you instant relief.
All right, take a look at that big, messy list you just made. Now you're just going to put a little star next to the things that absolutely, positively have to get done today. Not this week, not sometime in the future, just today. We're trying to turn that giant, scary mountain of tasks into a small, manageable hill. And here we are at the final and maybe most important step of all. You're going to pick one, just one, ridiculously small action and do it. The goal here isn't even to be productive. The goal is to prove to your brain that you can move. It's about giving yourself a guaranteed quick win to start building some momentum.
So what does a tiny action actually look like? Well, instead of your goal being clean the entire kitchen, your tiny action is just load the dishwasher. Instead of write the whole report, it's open the document and write the title. You want the step to be so small it almost feels silly. That's how you know you're doing it right. That's what gets you moving again.
Just remember this. Once you do that one tiny thing, you'll feel this little lift. It's a tiny spark, but it's enough to get you to the next thing and then the next. Action, no matter how small, is the ultimate antidote to feeling stuck.
You see, when you put this all together, this whole process, it's about so much more than just checking items off a to-do list. It's really about changing the way you talk to yourself when you feel that pressure building. It's a fundamental shift from beating yourself up to backing yourself up.
It's all about flipping that internal script, you know? The old script says things like, I'm such a failure for not getting more done. The new script says, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed and that's okay. It's about shifting from, I should be more disciplined, to, I can break this down and just take one step. That kind of gentle, practical self-talk is what really breaks the cycle for good.
So, I'll leave you with this question, a way to put this into practice immediately, right now. Just look away from the screen for a second and think, what is the one ridiculously small thing you can do right now to get moving again? You've totally got this.